if racism and anti-blackness were not so pervasive, I'm like, Bella, let me just first ask this. Do you know what the Crown Act is?
I've never heard of that.
Okay, so the Crown Act is not federal, although we've been trying to make it federal. But it is essentially an act where Black people, Black women, Black children, and of course, Black men with natural hairstyles, but typically it affects Black women and children the most, and we all know why. To not be discriminated against based on the natural texture that comes out of our hair. Do you know that there are actual do you know it is legal? And in majority of states, the Crown Act is only in 28 states in the United States. Do you know it is actually legal in multiple states to discriminate against a Black person based on the texture of their hair or the cultural hairstyles that they wear? Do you know that is actually legal in majority of the United States? I have been discriminated against for having locks, having braids, or literally just the texture of my hair. I've literally been sent home from school as a kid because my hair grew in an afro or I had box braids in.
Yeah,
do you know that is a thing?
That shouldn't be legal.
Yes, it shouldn't be legal, but it is. It is in majority of the United States, actually.
That's
so
terrible.
People, so not only are there situations like with Volcy's playing where white and Black applicants, with Black applicants with more experience, etc., are not as likely to get certain employment opportunities as white applicants. We can also be discriminated against simply because of our racial characteristics, such as the texture of our hair. and it is legal.
It's legal.
It is legal.
So you see the problems with all that, right, Bella?
Yeah, there should be laws against that.
Yeah. We are trying to make things federal, like that's how Kay said. But these are all things that actually do happen in our society. But one of the issues is that you are only taught that racism is just being mean to other people. Racism is not just that; it's also a whole system. Like, for example, you know about Jim Crow, right?
No, I don't.
There is no way you were born in 2003 and you don't know what Jim Crow is. No way.
Bella, she was born in 2003. Bella, let me ask Bella this. Bella, where did you go to school?
I went to a private school for kids with learning differences.
Okay,
and they didn't teach you what Jim Crow was?
They didn't teach you what Jim Crow was?
They didn't teach you what the Civil Rights Movement was? Who Martin Luther King was?
I mean, I've heard about the Civil Rights Movement, like Martin Luther King.
Well, there's a reason with Jim Crow. Okay, so the Civil Rights Movement was a thing because of a time in a period in America called Jim Crow. And essentially the Jim Crow period started about I believe the 1870s up until the 1960s. So it was a time in U.S. history where Black and whites were segregated not only in schools, but but the employment opportunities that you can get were based off your race. There was also a thing as well. Black people were I can't say it I'm trying to use TikTok friendly language, but I think strange fruited. So, strange fruited from trees. I can't say the word on TikTok, Bella, but yes. And it was a time where whites could terrorize. I don't know if I can say that. I'm sorry. Smerize Black communities without impunity. There were whole communities of Black people that were destroyed essentially during this era. And so so you learned about civil rights, and I don't know how you learned about the civil rights movement
without learning about Jim Crow.
But not Jim Crow. The civil rights movement came to end Jim Crow laws. That's what the civil rights movement was about.
Yeah. So Bella, I'm really struggling to understand this. I know you went to a private school, and that So you're saying that private school taught you nothing about the 1960s beforehand? Nothing at all? Do you know about slavery at all?
About like segregation and what Martin Luther King did.
So you know what Jim Crow was. Why'd you play around like acting like you didn't? You know what Jim Crow was.
They didn't tell us about Jim Crow.
But you knew about segregation.
Ma'am.
I didn't know that was part of...
Hold on. Everybody pause. I'm sorry. Everybody pause.
Jim Crow.
I'm sorry. Everybody pause. Because I'm really struggling to understand this. You learned about segregation, but you're saying that you didn't know about Jim Crow. Segregation is Jim Crow. That's what it is.
I didn't know that. They didn't teach me that.
So what did they teach you what it was? What did they call it?
They just told us that about segregation, and they didn't call it anything. They said it was racism, and they told us about Martin Luther King and what he did.
Okay, so you didn't learn about Bayard Rustin.
He was trying to end Jim Crow.
Wait, hold on. Okay, let me just ask this. You never learned about Bayard Rustin. You never learned about Betty Shabazz. You never learned about Malcolm X. You never learned about the Black Panther movement, the Black Power movement. None of those were part of your education?
To be fair, you'd be surprised how many people didn't learn that in school, Volcy.
Jesus fucking
You'd be
Christ, bro.
surprised. I know, to be fair, I know about those because my grandmother and the Black people in my life taught me those things. You would actually be surprised how many people do not know about the Black Panther Party or Betty Shabazz, Malcolm X, Bayard Rustin, Angela Davis. You'd be surprised how many people do not know about these figures. You would be surprised. You have people that really think that Black history stops at Harriet Tubman. Like, you'd be surprised.
Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah. I guess I shouldn't be.
Jim Crow was a person.
No, babe. Jim Crow was a law. Was a series of law. Actually, hold on. Let me get my tablet real quick.
Yeah, it was a series of laws named after a person.
Named after a person.
Yeah.
I actually didn't know it was named after a person, but but I do know its name. And essentially, this affected all Black people. And there's probably a reason why you did not know. This is also goes into our point that Black history in schools is often whitewashed and made palatable to white and non-Black children.
Mm-hmm. All right, Bella. I didn't want us to turn to like an education stream, so we do got to go ahead and start moving on. But I do appreciate you being up. I'm gonna talk to Al Rafiq next, and then users.
I think schools need to teach more of the Black history. Honestly.
Yeah, they definitely do. All right, Bella. I appreciate you being up. All right, no problem. All right, give me 1 second, Al Rafiq. User, are you still there, user?
Yes.
All right. You are you about over 18, and did you disagree with something I had on the board?
Yes.
Okay, cool. You know, for me real quick, I got to talk to Al Rafiq. Rafiq, how's it going? Rafiq, are you at least 18, and did you disagree with something I had on the board?
Yeah, I'm over 18, and yeah, I disagree with the fourth bullet point. There's no evidence for a God.
Right. There is no good evidence for a God. What good evidence do you think there is?
Yeah, there's, from my perspective, I think there's a lot of strong philosophical arguments for God's existence.
Well, philosophical arguments are not evidence.
Okay. What would you assert would be evidence for you?
Something that's demonstrable, demonstrable, something that we can measure, things like that.
Measure, like empirical?
Yeah, I think we should go off empiricism, correct?
Got it. So anything that's not empirically verified would be false under your worldview?
Not necessarily, but we do need to show, because I'm pretty sure if we go down the gamut of things, there's some things that we can't show empirically, right? Like me not being a brain in a vat, I can't show that empirically. But we can show that senses are consistent empirically when it comes to certain things.
Excuse me, I just wanted to say something really quick, please.
Oh, I recognize this voice. Nah, you're okay, user.
What?
You're okay. I recognize your voice. You've been here plenty of times trolling.
What?
So, but go ahead, Alfred.
I'm like Volcy.
Mm-hmm.
Can you put me on the big screen just real quick? Because I want us to be able to define things as we go along.
Sure.
So, y'all, for those of y'all who don't understand, this is Jim Crow. Okay, so Jim Crow refers to state and local laws that enforce racial segregation in the southern United States from the 1870s, which I said it was not the 1930s, 40s. No, it was the 1870s. So post-emancipation into the mid-1960s. These were based on the doctrine of white supremacy and systematically denying African Americans equal rights and opportunities. The term Jim Crow originated from the popular 1828 minstrel show, and if you don't know what a minstrel show is, it's very problematic. A routine created by a white actor named Thomas D. Rice, who performed in blackface makeup as stereotypical dim-witted African-American character. The character name became derogatory term for Black people and eventually was shorthanded to an entire system of racial hierarchy and legal oppression followed by the Reconstruction era. Jim Crow laws were enforced to strip Black Americans of political and economic gains that they made during the Reconstruction and establish a system of white dominance. The legal foundation of the system was in the Supreme Court's decision, 1896 decision, and Plessy versus Ferguson. Now, let me talk about Plessy versus Ferguson for a second. So, in the United States, there was a thing called the one-drop rule. Okay. And what Plessy Ferguson versus this was established as a legal racial classification within the earliest 20th century. So Plessy Ferguson, for those of you who do not know your history, Plessy versus Ferguson, the Ferguson case, Homer Plessy was a man who was only 1/8 Black in terms of ancestry. So he was predominantly European. And because of the laws of segregation during this time, Plessy was designated the racial designation, which means that he had to use the colored water fountains. And this became a case because he wanted to go on a train that was predominantly white. And because Homer Plessy was 1/8 Black, meaning that his great grandparent was Black. He was deemed Black by United States law. Okay, and so he could not use white-only facilities. So this is what cemented the one-drop rule as a racial classification legally, as well as cemented the Jim Crow era. And Plessy versus Ferguson, which was separate but equal, was what the Supreme Court deemed it. Mm-hmm. Okay? Right. So yes, just a little history lesson. That is what Jim Crow is.
Right. So yeah, so in case anybody didn't know, because it's kind of wild that folks don't learn what Jim Crow is. All right, let's continue with our Fik. He said he had to go. That sucks. But y'all keep liking the live. Let's go ahead and try to get more people in here. I did have some people before, but I'm not sure what happened to them. They all just kind of started dropping like flies. You know what I mean? Yeah, they always have to go. But that's all good. Our Fik, you still there? Or did he leave already?
Sorry about that. I had to leave for a second. All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. All right. So Rafik, when I talk about evidence, I'm like, yeah, something that's demonstrable, right? Something that we can show to be the case. When it comes to philosophical arguments, you can make a philosophical argument for just about anything. You can make a philosophical argument that there's a blue dragon in the middle of Neptune. Doesn't really show that's the case, right?
Right. So in terms of a blue dragon being in Neptune, right, you can say that, hey, something like that exists, but in terms of philosophically speaking, you'd have to provide more justification than you just merely stating that exists, right? Right.
Yeah, so, sure. You can, but that's what I'm saying. You can do that for literally anything.
Not necessarily. I would disagree. Could you offer up an argument or a syllogism that a blue Neptune or whatever that creature that you mentioned exists?
A blue dragon middle of Neptune? Yeah, probably. Yeah. If I sit down and wrote a syllogism out, probably, yeah.
I mean, there's nothing in the philosophical literature that would say something like that. So I would be pretty much amazed. If you can provide that for me, that'd be great.
Say that again.
Yeah, I would be amazed because in the philosophical literature, there's nothing like that.
Right. I know. I understand that, but it's like, my point is that if you try to make a syllogism or a philosophical argument, like what I'm saying is that you can do that for literally anything. It doesn't mean that the argument is going to be sound. You can make a valid argument. It doesn't mean it's going to be sound. You know what I'm saying? Right. But like the thing is, that's my issue with all these philosophical arguments for God. They just kind of conclude God or define one into existence. Yeah, I mean, we the way that we get justification is that if once we get some actual hard evidence, which has never been the case.
But yeah, you're begging the question. When I'm asking you, what are you defining as hard evidence? Because you can say that one thing is hard evidence, and one person may not define another thing as hard evidence, right? I mean, so what I'm asking you is, because from our initial conversation, you mentioned that, hey, more likely empirical evidence would be more hard evidence for you. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's the definition, like hard evidence, like something that's demonstrable and demonstrable. But I think the only thing that we can't show hard evidence for is that we're not all brains in a vat. That's really the only thing, because that gets into solipsism and all the other good stuff, right? So we just have to trust our senses because we have nothing else. You know what I mean? So it's like that's the hard wall there. But for I think 99% of things or claims, we can have some hard evidence for it.
Yeah, I would disagree. I would say like.
Can you put me on the big screen for a second?
Yeah,
because words mean things.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, Rafi.
Evidence. Because apparently we don't know what evidence is. So evidence, right? Look at the dictionary. And this is the Oxford Dictionary, which is an available body of facts or information indicating whether a belief or proposition is true
or valid.
Okay? That is what evidence is.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Now, what we're establishing is what, in terms of what types of evidence is what we accept, right? Now, I think the host made a point that, hey, 99% of things are verifiable through empiricism, except for, hey, this instance where we can think of someone being in a brain in a vat. But I would disagree. I would say that things like the laws of logic, certain analytical truths are true outside of what we call experiential knowledge, right? So we have some things as called a priori knowledge. Things are just true, right? Mind independent. So things like mathematical truths, 1 + 1 = 2 are out there.
But
true.
Those can be proven though. Scientifically.
Yeah,
math is scientific.
Right. I mean, when the thing is when it comes to math, Kay, your background's kind of loud. So when it comes to all good. So when it comes to things like math, right? Like we make up numbers. Like numbers don't really exist out there in some ethereal world. We make them up. So when it comes to things like 1 + 1 = 2, we're really just defining that into existence. We're defining one as a singular object. You know what I'm saying? That's just how our minds work in order to classify things. But numbers don't actually exist physically out in the real world, right?
So what you're saying to me is that numbers or mathematical equations, they're not true. They're subjectively true, or they're mind constructions essentially of the mind. Is that what you're saying?
They're basically a language that we use in order to describe the world. Same thing like how we're using the English language right now.
Are they objectively true though, in your paradigm or in your worldview?
Like math?
Yes. Are mathematics objectively true?
Yeah, because because we have really no other way to describe how the world works. So
right. So I would agree with you. So therefore, they're not really constructions. They're mind independent. They're tools that we use to represent things of the world. But it's not like we create them, right?
We invent math. Like the best example of this is calculus. Calculus was literally invented.
It was discovered, right? Well, these theorems are naturally discovered. What I'm saying to you is analytical truths like math or like the laws of logic. These aren't just the constructions that we come up with. These actually exist. And to ground these laws of logic or these mathematical laws, right, you would need a justification for them. And from an atheistic worldview, you don't have any justification for them.
Yeah, neither do you.
Well, that's not true at all, right? So certain objective.
Here's the thing, because
Yeah.
you claim something that I don't really accept, because you said that
Yeah.
these things exist somewhere. So how can you hand me the number one?
Right, they're abstract truths, so they're not tangible.
Right, abstract things don't exist.
Okay, so you're stating to me as mathematical truths or the laws of logic don't exist, right? Like the law of identity, the law of non-contradiction, those things are just conventions that we created, but they're not universally true or objectively true, right? From your perspective.
From as far as what we see, basically the laws of logic are basically what we see out in the universe, is how we describe the universe. Yeah, I mean, that's what they are, but there's no like document somewhere in some dimension that says these are the laws of logic. We'll just explain what we see out in the universe.
Right, but I'm saying to you is those laws of logic are what we call first philosophy, right? Those are things that are first order. They come before any type of empirical data is undertaken, right? So, for example, when we do science experimentation, right, we use philosophical undergirdings. We use these laws of logic to run these experiments. Otherwise, they would be incoherent to begin with. We need to have a system of laws in order to interpret data or information.
Right.
If you don't have those, sorry,
and all it is basically how the universe works from as far as what we can see. That's right. That's just it.
That's not all. Right.
Right. But what you're saying is like you're putting the laws of logic into some sort of like physical or metaphysical framework that just exists out there somewhere, when they're just like how we describe the universe. The laws of logic are not some sort of like thing you can see under a microscope, right?
Right. So from your worldview, you can't justify them because you believe that all all truths need to be verified empirically. And what I'm saying to you is the laws of logic
is verified empirically. Things don't contradict each other. Things either exist or they don't exist. There's no way to experimentally show something exists and doesn't exist at the same time. There's no way to show that.
Right. It's unfalsifiable. That's what I'm going to try and get at. It's not empirically verified because it's an unfalsifiable proposition. It's an axiom.
Yeah, I know they're axiomatic, but you can verify that, right? You can't like there is like there's no way to show something exists and doesn't exist at the same time.
Right, because they're right. I agree with you, host. It's because it's axiomatically defined, right? It's regardless of what happens in the outside world, we accept them the way to be the case because those are what we call objective truths that we need to utilize to navigate or interpret data in the real world, right? So what I'm telling you is, from your point of view, because this all started. Sorry to keep talking, but this all started when we talked about, hey, what sort of evidence would you accept in terms of the acceptance of God? I brought forth philosophical argumentation, and you responded by saying, "Hey, those aren't evidences; those aren't hard evidence." And then we got to the point of what is true, or how do we recognize truth, right? So what I'm telling you is, we got to the conversation about the laws of logic, mathematical truths. From your paradigm, you can assert that, hey, we use these things as constructions, but at the end of the day, they're objectively true, and they need a grounding outside of physical processes.
Why?
Because otherwise you don't have anything to ground them. So these are what we call first philosophies, meaning that there are things that
when you say ground them, what does that mean? Still there, Rafik?
15 themed areas filled with millions of
Sorry. No problem, Caddy. I just gotta mute you because it's kind of lounge background. Thanks.
Sorry.
When you say ground them, what does that mean?
Justify them, right? There has to be a source for what justifies them, right? Because otherwise,
I don't even understand what that means. When you might justify it, like when we look out into the universe, we see things don't contradict each other. So what is the justification that it needs?
Right, because you're presupposing, right, these laws of logic exist, but you don't have any justification or grounding for.
I'm not presupposing anything. We see that things exist and they can't exist and not exist at the same time. I'm not justifying anything. That's literally what we see.
Right. So I'm not disputing that.
Okay, so there doesn't need give me 1 second, Gaddy. So there doesn't need to be any justification.
Yes, there does. Because you're just using what we call metaphysical laws, right? In terms of the law of non-contradiction, the law of identity, these things, right?
But it can be proven, though. That's the difference. It can actually be tested and proven. That's science.
No, this is outside of science. This is what we call philosophy, right? So, empirically speaking,
philosophy doesn't equal reality, though. Not necessarily.
You made a philosophical statement, and you're saying that philosophy doesn't equal reality, right? What I'm saying to you is that these propositions or these laws that we take for granted.
Does it have science to back it? Evidence, that's reality. Evidence, something tangible.
Right. And I'm saying to you, there's no scientific evidence to back up what 1 + 1 = 2 or etc.
Actually, there is. No, actually, there is. Like, you have to talk to like a physicist and a mathematician and everything like that. But yeah, actually, there is. Like, I don't know what the equations are. I don't even know how they do it. But actually, there is. I actually have seen like papers like that, and it was written in symbols that I'll probably never understand. But actually, there is. They can scientifically show that 1 + 1 = 2. But again, we make up numbers. Like one could have been Smurgle for all we know. You know what I'm saying? We just made up numbers.
The actual syntax, right? The word 1 is made up. I agree with you, but the actual, like, the value of it behind the actual name from it, those aren't just made up, right? Those actually exist. Those are actually real concepts. They're not figments of our imagination. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Okay, concepts that come from where exactly?
That's what we're trying to establish, because where are they? What's the justification? Where are these things coming from? That's what I'm trying to say.
They're coming from us. That's what I'm saying. They're coming from us. We're the ones making it up.
No,
because
we're making up.
If we all disappear tomorrow, are you saying that like 1 + 1 will still exist? Because like there's no one around.
1 will still, yes. And what I'm telling you, host, is 1 + 1 will still equal to whether you exist or whether I exist.
Okay, and how do we show that to be? All right, so how do we show that to be true?
Irregardless, if you can show that to be true, it is objectively true. Irregardless, those are what we call. Sorry, go ahead. Hello.
I ain't saying anything yet.
May I speak for a minute?
Yeah, go ahead.
He is using finite notions in science when science doesn't even, science is still in a mode of discovery. Science is always in a mode of discovery and exploration and seeking. And he's only using Western philosophy, and he's not even using, there's a whole nother side of philosophy, which is Eastern philosophy, which deals with infinite models and metaphysics and non-dualism and oneness and understanding of infinite models and quantum physics and stuff like that. He's just looking at science purely from a Westerner lens, using Western philosophy, and it does.
Well, that's not true either, because philosophy extends.
Eastern philosophy. Let me tell you something. Eastern philosophy is more scientific in its understanding, closer to science than Western philosophy is in certain areas. There are two different types of philosophies, and you're ignoring like a whole nother section of philosophy, probably just like you ignore a whole nother section of religions outside of the Abrahamic sphere. Like, bruh, like you're approaching this strictly from like
that's not true at all.
Because I can philosophically look at it in a Western sense, then yeah, you must have something to ground it.
That's not true at all. Philosophy existed way beyond the Western Revolution, or way beyond West, right?
All right, so everybody pause me real quick. Yeah, I got you. Everybody pause me real quick. Here's the issue that I'm having. We haven't gotten to how any of this gets us to a God. Yeah, the laws of logic. We have concepts of 1, 2, 3. We have concepts of unicorns as well. That doesn't mean unicorns exist just because we have a concept of it. Like
unicorns are constructs of natural things, right? Unicorns are only just like horses with horns in them, right? They're constructs of what we see empirically, like horses, and we can visualize a horn. Therefore, a unicorn is a kind of a made up thing, right? They're constructs of what we see in reality.
By the nature of a sentient mind, hold on. By the nature of a sentient mind, you are the one that formulates this mapping. You are the one that tries to map. You are the one that gives things names. By the nature of a sentient mind alone, it gravitates to the nature of it gravitates to the nature of forms. It doesn't matter how much you try to map it or navigate it or give it words. it's still, if it's an infinite model, then you go on doing it forever. And this grounding that you're speaking of doesn't exist. This is my point about infinite models versus finite models. In finite models, you have a grounding, yes. But in infinite models, there is no grounding because energy is therefore looked at as infinite.
Wait 1 second. Wait, Katie, how is there grounding?
All right, Dragon, give me a second. Give me a second, Dragon, because like I'm sorry, we have to kind of wrap up and actually get to what we're trying to talk about, because it's like I still don't see, like, just because we have these concepts, we have the laws of logic, all that is good and well, right? How does this even get us to a God? Because not like all these things could exist, or all these things we could have concepts and laws of logic, all that could happen, right? That still doesn't lead us to a God, because like when I don't understand what you mean by we have to justify that we see things don't contradict each other. What does that mean? We see things don't contradict each other. I have to justify why we don't see it. That makes no sense.
Yeah, I mean, this whole conversation started about evidence, and we kind of got into, I think, a tangent in terms of, hey, what do we see as evidence? Because at the end of the day, the question was, the prompt was, there's no good evidence for God. I asked you, what evidence would you accept? You mentioned empirical evidence, but you said that the only thing that would escape that would be us a brain in a vat, right? Because that will lead to solipsism. And I told you, hey, that's not the only case. We have these certain truths, such as math, laws of logic, that are true, right? We accept them. They're objectively true, yet they don't require any empirical evidence because they're presuppositions. They're axiomatic, right? So that doesn't necessarily fall in your paradigm. And that's where the conversation naturally delved towards. So that's kind of, from my perspective, where it naturally fell to.
All right. So because we have things like math, are you saying that math is more discovered than it is made up? Because like yes. we know that we made up languages, right? So yeah. If we and math is a language, so if we made up languages, how did we not make up math?
Because
interpret reality with math. You would interpret reality with math. Whether like we came up with these axioms or these models, that itself is kind of redundant, because it is the case that given these constructs, we can derive truths. Now, if that's the case, then someone can give some like mode of argumentation using these constructs to derive or come to a God.
I would agree with that.
Does that make sense, host?
No, it doesn't. You guys are saying because we use math, therefore God. That doesn't make sense.
No, that's not the claim. I'm saying like whether it's going to be math or whether it's going to be like modal language, like within philosophy, right? Using these models like that have axioms and like theorems, we can come to the conclusion that a God exists.
Yeah, I understand. I can come to the conclusion that a God exists because I have a bald head. That doesn't mean that a God exists because I have a bald head.
How the hell did you derive that from my statements? Like, you think that's what I'm inferring, that you have a bald head, therefore God?
No. What I'm saying is that you literally just said math, therefore God. I
told you explicitly I didn't state that.
All right, but okay. So then when I asked you say it again, you literally repeated that. So what are we?
No,
what are we saying
okay. Can you reiterate my claim if you understood?
You said because we have these axiomatic models and things like modal language, you can therefore come to the conclusion that a God exists.
We can use these things, right, to come. And it's not just that due to the fact that these things exist, right, that therefore God. No, these.
Yeah, you can use those concepts. Got you. Yeah, you can use those concepts in order to conclude a God. I agree. You can use those concepts. Correct. Right. You can use those concepts in order to conclude it, just like I can use this cup of coffee on my desk to conclude it.
Okay, wait 1 second. Yeah. Firstly, when we speak about like modal language or deductive reasoning, like
this is what I'm saying. None of this matters. I don't care about modal language. How do we show a God exists?
Wait, we can't get off the ground, like in the case that you don't even.
We can get off the ground. We don't usually use modal language. What is the evidence that a God exists?
I never claimed that we just.
I got you. Like, firstly, like, what is the evidence? Stop. Pause. What is the evidence that a God exists? If we don't have any evidence, we can use philosophy and all that to make an argument for any God that we want, like Zeus, like Oldumare, all that good stuff.
It's not true at all.
Okay, wait. Yeah, sure, you can. So what?
Right. It doesn't show that a God exists then, because we can use any argument for any type of gods or any type of devils or spirits or anything like that. So what do we do from there?
And people can give arguments, right, that the Earth
right,
is
exactly.
flat,
So
or gravity
so
doesn't
what do we?
exist.
Right. So what
do
do we do from there?
exactly? Like this is what, I don't know why you keep interrupting me. Look, what I'm telling you is that arguments can be constructed to motivate any other view, right? A multiplicity of models, but the point of argument is going to be, right, whether the argument is going to be sound. Now, I'm like, if we can't get off the ground in terms of like you understand these concepts or how to even derive argumentations for the existence of God, I'm not sure if this discussion is really going to go anywhere. But since you're asking like for evidence of God, what is evidence for you?
I explained this since the beginning. Something that's demonstrable, measurable, something that we can actually have a fact in and we can actually use. You know what I'm saying? Like if we don't have that, the only thing that's going to escape that, like I said before, is trying to show that we're not brains in a vat. That's okay, what I think that's going to escape that.
What do you mean by something that is like measurable? Like tangible, physical? Like is that what you're like expecting? So like God to like be put under some like scope so we can like assess it to see whether it exists or not?
Yeah, something like that. Or as a matter of fact, if God is as a matter of fact, if God is all knowing and all powerful, he could just go ahead and write his name on the moon, and then there we go.
Firstly, that's trivial. But if like you're only the thing, if what the evidence of God for you is just going to be, we bring God and then like under some scope, like we assess him. Obviously, that type of evidence cannot be provided.
Why not?
It can't because it's not real.
Right. Same reason, right, that you cannot, you do not have access, right, to like the fossils of your great grandparents. Yet you still infer the fact that you exist, that they exist.
I have the fossils of my great grandparents.
We have DNA to prove that.
We do have it.
Hold on, Dragon. Listen, we can have the fossils of our great grandparents. Like my family, can you prove that? My family has a tomb in Haiti. I can go to this tomb, see my grandfather, see his father, and see his father.
Okay, how far back?
So
how far back?
Probably to the revolution. And I'm pretty sure that Kay, since she's African American, she can show like documentations of like her parents or her ancestors even coming over on the ships. Like we have documentation for all this.
Look, but my point here is like, if we go far back enough,
most Black Americans don't have the ships because we were considered property, but we can, in fact, trace our lineage back.
No, look, I'm aware of
most of us, some of us to the 1700s.
Look, I'm not contending with this. Look, but the reason why I'm deriving this point is you're asking for some like empirical evidence where we can just like basically put God under some scope, and then with that we're going to infer that he exists. But I'm stating that you believe in things where you don't invoke this type of evidence, yet you still believe that they exist.
Like
right?
what?
So I brought up one example.
I'm like, but you're still
allow me to finish my point. Look,
hold on, pause me because I know Dragon's being interrupted. I'm sorry. Pause me real quick. All right, Dragon. The example you brought up is not a good example because we actually do have that, which is DNA's burial sites. Right. So what are hold on, wait. So Dragon. So my question is, what are the things that you think that I believe that we don't have empirical evidence of?
Logic.
Yeah. Okay. So forget about logic for now, because he's asking for empirical evidence. Logics or the laws of logic at least are going to be conceptual; they're not empirical. But when it came to like, for example, like the fossils of your great grandparents, there's going to come a point where you're not going to have access to it. Maybe the last few generations you do have access to it, but if you go back maybe 1,000, 2,000 years back into the past, you're not going to have access to anything or any remnants left of them. Yet like you still infer. Okay, so you still believe that they existed, right?
Well,
because
have their DNA,
and we have their DNA, and I do, and I exist.
Beautiful.
We have our great. We have our ancestors' DNA in our bodies. We are literally, we get 50% of our DNA from our parents, and both of them have ancestors. So yes, we can prove they exist because we have their DNA.
Well, firstly, Dragon, to that.
I got you.
Respond to that.
What I'm trying to say, Dragon, is that we can empirically show that they exist because we empirically exist, right? So we know that
literally how that works.
Pause, everybody. We know that that through like human reproduction is empirically a thing, right? We reproduce. So me existing means my ancestors exist because I just said pop out the ether, did I? So like
Okay, that's the entire
this is
point.
still
One second.
right. So this is still a bad argument.
No,
Like,
it's
yeah.
not. So let me like properly
It's
represent.
a
like,
terrible
okay,
argument.
okay, I didn't ask you to give some assessment.
all right, so Dragon, go ahead. I'm
I'm
sorry.
a mod.
Yeah, it's not a good argument at
Look,
all.
Okay,
Hold on,
so let me
so I can interject.
I got you. Okay, I got you. Everybody pause real quick. Let's go ahead. Hold on. Pause. All right, I'm sorry, y'all, because it's getting again a little out of hand. But Dragon, go ahead and respond to that. For reiteration, I said that since we empirically exist, we can show our ancestors exist because we know that human reproduction is a thing. I didn't pop out of nowhere. So obviously, I was born from someone who was born from someone. Why is that not empirical?
Okay, beautiful. Firstly, right, the construct that, or like the criteria you gave to prove the existence of God is to put him like under some scope and like we can tangibly see him. But it is the case, if you go far back enough, you cannot do that for your ancestors. Now, what you're doing is that you're stating, well, I exist, so obviously there has to be a reason as to why I exist, and I'm going to infer that I had prior generations that enabled me, right, to exist. So you don't necessarily need tangible evidence. Your own existence is sufficient for you to infer that something came prior or brought about to existence.
Because human reproduction is
I'm still speaking. So let me finish. I don't know why you keep cutting me off. Same exact reason can be given for the existence of God. That there is some universe, right? There is beings, right? There's going to be a reason as to why they exist, and then this type of being is going to be interpreted to be God.
Okay,
DNA is tangible, but God is not. And
right.
Those two things aren't correlative at all.
Right. So Dragon, like, right, yeah. So Dragon, yeah, they're not correlative at all because number one, you already admitted that God isn't physical, but number two, DNA is physical and it's tangible, and not only that, the reason why we can infer is because we have a good reason to infer it. Because hold on, Dragon, we have a good reason to infer it because just like how, as you already admitted, reproduction exists. We don't just pop out of nowhere. And yes, the existence in of itself, the universe had to happen for a reason, right? But you're simply saying that the reason was this almighty creator outside of space and time or whatever. You're not close.
I don't believe that.
All right, so what are we talking about then?
God is outside of space or time, but
that's what I said. That's what I said.
A being that is outside of space and time.
That exists outside of space and time.
He doesn't, at least under my model.
Okay, so right. Under your model, God exists within space and time?
Yeah, correct. That God can act within time and he has a location. So God, in your model, God is dependent on space and time. I don't know how that follows at all. What do you mean dependence?
You said that he exists within space and time. You said that he exists.
All it means.
Dragon. Stop. Let me. I'll. You asked me what I meant. I'm saying what I meant. We all depend on space and time. I take up space. I take up time. So if God acts within space and time, he's dependent on space and time as well, just like I am.
No, I don't agree. Firstly, dependence here is going to be something that's trivial to like tense propositions. But when it comes to time itself, all that suffices for you to be in time is that you can act or do successive actions. Because time is just merely going to be the measurement of change. Now, dependence, right? I'm not sure what type of dependence, since there's many different accounts of dependence within the literature.
I think you understand exactly what I meant by dependence.
No,
I take up space.
Not this uninformed.
I told you. I take up space. I take up time. There's no way that I can act without space.
What does it mean to take?
Bro, I'm explaining it. Space and time are one thing. You understand that, right?
No, I don't hold to that model.
But then you're not being scientific then. Because according to relativity, space-time is one thing, because the farther away that we get away from gravity, the slower our clock moves. You understand that, right? Like clocks in space move slower than
oh my gosh.
Slower or faster, I'm not sure. But you know time dilation is a thing, right? You know about time dilation.
I'm aware of this.
Okay, so if you're aware of time dilation, hold on, stop. If you're aware of time dilation, then you know that space and time are one thing. So we all take up space and we all take up time, all of us, and we cannot act. Hold on, like, how do you not take up space time? How do you not take up?
Okay, now
you don't take up space,
right?
Hold on, wait, hold on, stop.
You're gonna you don't respond.
You don't take up space right now. You don't take up space, so you just don't exist.
I take up space, right? I'm not claiming that I don't, but
right. And space time is one thing.
Yes, dude, you're gonna have to allow me to respond. I'm gonna have to go in a bit, but look, the point here is
Dragon. Space time is one thing, bro.
point.
I'm not gonna let you get away from that. I'm gonna hold on. Wait.
I'm gonna respond to that. Can I respond?
There's nothing to respond to.
it's not
Space
up for
time is
debate.
one thing. It's not up for debate.
It's one thing. End of
Okay,
conversation.
so you're just gonna assert it without any and allowing any.
We have evidence of it. It's called relativity.
It's
space. Oh my God,
relativity and science.
Okay.
You're not making
It's just
any
like
coherent.
look, all she's doing is reiterating your point. I don't know. She's not adding anything to
All right. So
Because there's
pause
nothing for
real
me
quick.
to reiterate. You're not giving me anything to reiterate.
Right. So pause me real quick. Hold on. Wait. Pause me real quick.
Dude,
Everybody,
can
pause
I
me.
just respond to
I
you?
got you. Pause me real quick. What I'm saying is that there is literally nothing to debate here. Space time is one thing. We've proven it over and over and over again. So to say that you don't hold to the model of space time, how the fuck are you even using the app right now?
I never made that.
Skippy, hold on.
You literally said that a few minutes ago.
It's called.
No, you're gonna have to allow me
Skippy
to
is called
speak.
my words getting. It's called getting tongue twisted. And if you, and if you don't come up,
Oh my gosh,
within
dude,
the
like, this is like
10
so
minutes-
convoluted. We're not gonna progress anywhere at all. Like,
hold on. Skippy, because I see you in the comments making snide comments, being tongue twisted. And if you don't come up, like Volcy said, I'm like, it is 5:06. If you're not up here by 5:20, I'm gonna mute you for the whole live. Because see, I don't do passive aggressive bitches. That I don't do.
All right, crap, bro. So we lost to Rafik and the other one. All right, so what's his name? Unwarranted or unwanted?
I'm like he was trying to debate things that are undebatable, like time and space. Like that was how are you going to equate having how are you going to equate having ancestors to God?
Yeah,
Like those
it makes no
things
sense at
are
all.
even.
Yeah, I was coming up here because like I had a family member who traced our lineage all the way back to the medieval times. Like what?
Yeah, exactly. This is crazy.
Now,
Well, anyway,
here's the thing.
I
I didn't know about the tomb of your family in Haiti, though. That's interesting.
Yeah. It's my grandfather's tomb is there, and we have my grandfather and my great grandfather there. I think it goes back to the.
Are you gonna be buried there when you're about to go back to Haiti? Is that what's gonna happen?
We'll see. That's if things get better because it's hard to bring bodies over there. Like my grandmother is buried here because it was difficult to get her over there. You know what I mean? So like it's going to depend. But give me 1 second. I have Unwanted on the stage, and Frank, I'm gonna get to you next. Unwanted, how's it going? Unwanted, are you at least 18? And did you disagree with something I had on the board?
Yeah, I'm 20, and I would say I disagree with the force prompt.
Okay, gotcha. Pause me real quick. Frank, how you doing, Frank? Are you over 18? And did you disagree with something I had on the board?
I am, yeah, and I just pretty much have a question about number 3.
Sure. Actually, I'm gonna get to you next. Give me 1 second about when you get that. All right, and who's that last one? It says TC. Oh, yeah, I guess he didn't want to come up.
Wait, where did he go?
Right.
I didn't do nothing that time.
No, it's all good. Some people make a mistake. They add themselves and they drop. All right, so Unwanted.
By the way,
you
TC, if you want to come back up, you can. Like there ain't no issue.
Yeah, you can come back up, TC, when you want. And Briz NYC, whenever you get time and you're in a place where you can go ahead and come up, go ahead and come up. All right. So Unwanted, you said the fourth one, no good evidence for a God. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. Yeah, we don't think that there's any good evidence for a God, and we define evidence as, basically what the Oxford Dictionary said, a body, a piece of fact or information that shows that a proposition is true. So something that's demonstrable, demonstrable, repeatable, things like that. Do we have any thing like that for a God, or is there just philosophical arguments?
Mainly philosophical.
Right. So the reason why I don't take philosophical arguments as any good reason is because I can make a philosophical argument that, Papa Legba exists or Olodumare. You're probably not going to believe that, are you?
Are any of the African spirituality gods?
I would go as far as to say that philosophical arguments, what they can do is they can give you the a logical and sound idea that or concept that the God exists, but it's not going to get you into factually evident that the God exists.
Right. That's what I would say on Unwanted. That's why, like, when it comes to philosophical arguments, I'm always like, you can argue your way for anything. I could probably come up with the syllogisms for pink dragons in the middle of Pluto, but that doesn't mean that you're gonna believe it, right?
If it was logically, I guess, coherent and non-contradicting, I would say so. Yeah. I mean,
Okay, sure. Let's go something for logical coherent.
Also, you got a friendly in the comments saying hey to you.
Hey, what's going on? How's it going? All right, y'all. And I did reset the gift goal. I don't know if you saw that yet, guys. I did reset the gift goal. So if you would like to gift me,
see that.
and if you would like to be a super fan, you can go ahead and be a super fan as well. For some reason, TikTok raised the prices, so it's now $9.99. It's not my fault though. That's because of TikTok. They want to make more money, so they did raise the prices. Let's see. TC Bay, you can come up whenever you like. And Frasman, you said Frasman, you said that America is the best country in the world. Go ahead and come on up, and we could talk about why America was never great. All right, so sorry about that.
America first.
Yo. Yeah, how's it going? All right, so sorry about that. Yeah, give me 1 second, America first. All right, so Unwanted, what I would say is that, yeah, we can make any logical argument for anything, right? Like, for example, premise 1, I'm a black man. Premise 2, that means that I descended from Africa. Premise 3, sub-Saharan African people were the first people on the planet. Premise 4, if they were the first people on the planet, that means that they had the first spirituality. Premise 5, if they had the first spirituality, that meant that they likely had the access to the spiritual world, or the original version of the spiritual world. Premise 6, since they had access to the original premise of the spiritual world, then that makes their premise true. Premise 7, that means that Oldumare exists because he's the leader of that spiritual world. Do you believe in Oldumare now because I made a syllogism for it?
No.
Right. So that's why I said that these don't work. I didn't prove Oldumare. I just said that he existed because I'm a black guy. That's basically the conclusion. So you see how that's a problem there, right?
Well, you're basically describing as if God is I don't really define God as someone who is a contingent, physical, finite, empirical creature.
Mm-hmm.
I define God as a necessary, eternal, immaterial, metaphysical, ultimate being.
I'm sorry.
Okay,
am I
so
the
are
only
you
one?
gonna
Or
use
does Unwanted
tag?
sound low?
He does sound low. So Unwanted, you sound a little low.
Sorry.
And Hammy, I think he is giving tag. So if you're giving Unwanted, if you're giving the tag argument, all I could say is that what's necessary to exist is space-time. So God is space-time?
So, wait, say that one more time.
Well, you're kind of giving. I'm sorry, someone background is loud. That's the new person. I'm gonna mute you real quick. MD, I'm gonna mute you real quick because your background is loud. So Unwanted, basically your argument is that you're defining God as something that's necessary to exist. What's necessary to exist is space-time.
MD's just here to troll.
Okay, he's under here to troll. Okay, let me go and drop him. All right, thank you for being up here, MD. All right, so Unwanted, what's necessary to exist is space-time. Are we gonna say that space-time is now God?
Those are preconditions for knowledge, but they're not. I would say God, or would you like space-time is necessary, therefore what again?
Yeah, because your argument is that you define God as a necessary thing to exist, right? But space-time basically. Space-time is necessary because we all take up space, we all take up time. So it's necessary for us to exist, for us to exist. So I could just say space-time is God, and if we're going to say space-time is God, that's the universe. And if the universe is God, that's basically equivalent to really having no God at all. So like, what do we get to when we come to like necessary existence? Is basically my question.
The conclusion in the first place to know that space and time do exist. What's my
conclusion? That space and time exists. We exist in it. I'm not sure what you mean.
So it just is.
Yeah,
So,
space-time really is just is, yeah.
So if that's the case, then I could come along and just say, well, God just is.
Yeah, so how do you prove that?
Yeah, if the worldview can give an epistemic justification and is logical and coherent.
But it's not logical and coherent.
Space-time, you got to give a justification and for that and just saying that stuff is, why ought I believe that?
Wait. So you want me to give a
Do you
justification?
take up space? Do you take up space right now? Unwanted.
And I'm not denying the claim. I'm saying, can you derive a moral claim from an is?
Why would you need to derive a moral claim from space-time existence?
Just because something is, why ought I believe that?
Wait,
the thing
what?
is like, wait, well, hold on.
I'm sorry, Hammy. I'm sorry, Hammy. Because
Yeah,
I'm
no,
really
go ahead, Volcy.
all good. I'm sorry, Hammy, but I'm really unclear about what he's asking here. You're asking us why should you believe that space-time exists? Like, it's 5:15 Eastern PM right now. Well, I don't. What are we talking about? Like, there's literally scientific evidence of space-time. Like, relativity is a thing, right? You're literally using GPS right now to talk to me.
You're using logic, which is like already presupposing that that words that you're saying have meaning. So you're using your logic, which you can't give an account for, to say that.
Hold on. No, hold on. Because when we're talking about logic here, these are things that exist, like axiomatically, because of the fact, like I cannot, like, the law of identity is something that says that I am, like A is A. And, like, so I don't understand, like, the laws of logic, what the laws of logic have to do with this here.
Well, again, if you want to go with that argumentation, well, I can just say again that God is, and I don't have an epistemic.
Yeah, no, but the problem is that whenever you're talking about God, we're talking about, like, what exactly does the laws of logic have to do with God?
No, I'm just saying you're using logic itself to say that these things exist, which already are presupposing that your words that you're saying have meaning, right?
No.
Okay. So again, how can you prove that what you're saying has meaning, or that words have meaning? Don't you have to admit the presupposition?
Words, wait, hold on. Words have usages, not meaning. For starters, words have usages, not meanings, right? Because, like, the whole entire reason why, like, dictionaries get updated is because certain words will add a new meaning to it and things like, or add a new usage to it. So we just, like, words have usages. We're not, there's no intrinsic meaning to words. All words are is just these sounds that come out of our mouths because we make sounds, right?
Sure. Okay.
So none of it, there's no intrinsic meaning to words. Yeah, we're literally right now just making sounds come out of our mouths.
If that's the case, if there's no meaning to words, why are we even sitting up here debating since there's no meaning?
Because, as I said, words have usages, and we've agreed on the certain usages. Why does that matter?
It doesn't matter.
Because we are, because
it does matter.
Well, he just
no, it matters. No, just because something doesn't have an intrinsic meaning doesn't mean it doesn't matter. Like, you know that, right?
Something is and not. That's basically what you're saying.
No, I'm not.
No,
because the thing is like, words don't have meanings, but we agree on usages of the words, and we want to agree on those usages because we want to effectively communicate concepts to one another. Like, if, for instance, if Volcy and I wanted to have a conversation and I said, hey, look at this apple, but he doesn't agree on the usage of the word apple, because to him, apple is something else, then we're not going to have an effective communication here. We're just going to be arguing about the apple that's in my hand.
I get that words have usage, but why does it matter that words have usage? Like, who cares?
Because we need to communicate. What are we talking about here, bro?
He's saying that basically, like, words.
You're using words right now, and the reason we can understand you is because words have meaning, so we can effectively communicate with one another. That's literally what we're doing right now.
Prove that words have meaning.
We can prove words have meaning because you're using words. What the hell are we talking about, bro? What are we going with this?
This is why I don't like the Phil Bros who come up here and want to run tag.
I can't stand Phil Bros.
This is insane. This is insanity. Like, you sound crazy, bro. Like you're saying, why does it matter words have meaning when you're literally using words to communicate with us? What are we doing? What is this?
Oh my gosh, you guys are saying that I agree with you guys, but you guys have no basis or no like justification in believing that. But again,
we literally just justified it. You are using
just
words.
saying that it is. That's not a justification.
No.
What do you even mean by that? What we need to have a justification for why words have meaning. Are you insane?
Well, no, I'm just saying,
like, bro. Hold on, let me ask you, bro.
I agree that words have meaning.
So unwanted. Let me ask you a serious question. This morning, did you go to your garden and dig up the mushrooms and swallow them a bit? Because this is insane, bro. What are we talking about here?
I'm saying
no,
like,
literally.
We're presupposing that words have meaning for the possibility of knowledge because you can't empirically.
No, we're not presupposing anything.
No, we're not presupposing it. What we're doing, unwanted, we're not presupposing it. What we are doing is saying that because we want to have effective communication, we need to be able to communicate effectively with each other, correct? Am I right?
Okay.
In order to have effective communication, you need to be able to convey these ideas, correct?
Okay, this is basically useless. So I disconnected him because ain't no way.
Ain't no fucking way, bro. ain't no way.
I'm like, if there ain't no river high, if there ain't no mountain high enough, there definitely ain't no river low enough. I ain't got time for that foolishness.
Yeah, bro. Ain't no river high enough, ain't no river low enough. Oh man, that's hilarious. All right. So yeah, America first. I'm gonna get to you next, but I wanted to talk to Frank first. Frank Sinatra, I think you said your name was. Frank, how's it going? Are you at least 18? Well, you told me you're at least 18, and you want to ask me about something on the board, correct?
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the reparations.
Sure. Yeah, Black Americans deserve
that. Before we get into that, Frank, what is your favorite Frank Sinatra song?
Summer Wind.
All right, go ahead.
Cool. All right, what did you want to know?
Okay.
What did you want to know about reparations?
I remember you did say you had a question.
Yeah, I wanted to know. Do all Black Americans get reparations? Like, do you think that's how that should work?
Yes.
Well, yes, because all Black Americans in the United States are descendants of the transatlantic slave trade in the United States, and also went through Jim Crow, redlining, and just all the systemic issues that have come with being. I'm not trying to have a whole history lesson. I just did that. Okay.
No, I see where you're coming from, but what about someone that that just came here?
Oh, you talking about
they would not get reparation. Are you talking about a Black immigrant?
No, I'm saying if they're like a legal citizen, like say their parents moved here in the 80s or something.
Okay.
No, they would not qualify.
So you have to have direct lineage to slavery?
To slavery, yeah. So Frank, this is what what we're saying. The way that we're defining Black American is not just with the census. We're defining it with the culture, like the ethnic group of people. Black Americans.
An ethnic group. So for example, Volcy is a Haitian American. He descends from slavery that happened within the Caribbean, specifically in the country of Haiti. So he is not a Black American. I am a Black American. My lineage goes back to the slave trade, specifically within the state of Tennessee. I have great-grandparents and grandparents and great-great-great-great-parents who went through slavery, Jim Crow, Black codes, etc. I am a Black American. I'm like, although we're both the same race, we both have within America, we are the same race because race is a legal and social classification. So we're the same race. Ethnically, only one of us is a Black American, and that would be me.
Right. And I do want to answer something, right? Because Matzo Ball over in the Deconstruction Junction YouTube channel. What's up, Deconstruction Junction? That's me talking, by the way. But for Matzo Ball and the Deconstruction Junction YouTube, he asks, what if they move here post-slave trade? They would still be considered Black American. I'm not sure who would move here post slave trade probably did.
Well,
But there's a
first
certain
of all,
time.
they wouldn't have been allowed. No, well, here's the thing: they also wouldn't have been able to, because in America, the only people, for the most part, unless I think they had to have the permission of some white family. Where the most, people who were not of color. But basically, people who were not white were not allowed to
be in the United States.
Come here. We're not allowed to come here. The only people that were here in the United States post 1960s were Black Americans. You had some Native Americans, and then you also had a small group of Asians. Now, there were people that did immigrate here during Jim Crow, a very, very, and I'm saying very, very, very small amount of Caribbeans, because you have people like Malcolm X who are bi-ethnic. He's both Black American and not Ghanaian.
Grenadian.
Grenadian, yes. For some reason, I always get Grenadian and Ghanaian mixed up, like in my language. Anyway,
yeah, same.
They sound similar to me.
Yeah.
So what about like criminals? Should they get reparations too?
Did their family go through the transatlantic slave trade and go through slavery?
Yeah.
Jim Crow,
So let's say like Bill Cosby had heritage. Like, should he get reparations?
Bill Cosby does have. Him being a horrible person and a decrepit degenerate does not mean he would not get reparations.
Right. So,
that's not what reparations are based off of.
Yeah. So, like, even if,
I'm not understanding.
Let's say we have somebody who's a Black American who's in prison who will never get out. Like they're in there for life, right? Like, reparations would probably go to their next of kin, right?
Well, I would think so, because it wouldn't benefit them. It would benefit maybe their children or their grandchildren, maybe nieces and nephews. It would be someone in their family. Correct. That's what I would be thinking. It would go to someone. I would think if they have children, then maybe their children.
Gotcha.
Correct.
And I'm assuming these reparations are just going to come from the government.
Correct.
Well, yes, that's who would be paying them.
Yeah,
yes.
the government, and I would also throw in industries that benefited and even pushed forward slavery and redlining as well.
i.e. Wells Fargo.
Yeah, Wells Fargo, JP Morgan Chase, those folks as well will fund it.
They definitely gonna need to come out the coin.
Mm-hmm.
Come out pocket.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys answering my questions, because I think it's an interesting topic, and to see, I don't know if that will actually ever come to fruition, but it's an interesting thought to see, how that would change kind of like the scope of America.
I think it would change for the better, because it would put Black Americans on an equal playing field. And and also keep in mind, Volcy, you have even acknowledged that even though you would not be getting them, because again, you don't have lineage to United States chattel slavery, it would even benefit
me.
Black people who are coming into the country, because most times
we
Black
live around
immigrants and their children live amongst Black Americans. So they're coming into predominantly Black American neighborhoods.
Mm-hmm.
How do you determine how much you get?
Basically, this was already calculated by a few organizations. On the low end, it's anywhere from 10 trillion, and on the high end is about 50 to 60 trillion. Right now, people are not, naive. This is a huge amount of money, almost impossible amount of money. You know what I'm saying? So they're not naive to say how is this going to work out. But there are ways to Frank had to leave. There are ways, just to finish it out, there are ways to divvy that up, or distribute it and have channels for how it can go through. And because it's not only going to be about just paying them back in cash, it's also going to be about rechanging entire systems such as healthcare, the criminal justice system, our education system, etc. Makes
well sober.
Can I talk now?
Yeah. Hold on, America first. Let Kay finish, and then we're gonna get to you. Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to say the sober in the comments. I think Volcy made plenty of sense. But thank you, I guess, for thinking I made sense in the conversation. Go ahead.
Right.
America.
All right. So America first. I think I've spoken to you before. You're over 18 and you disagree with something I had on the board, correct?
No, I never. It was my first time.
Maybe I'll talk to you in another live. I think it was Be Easy's live because I recognize you from somewhere.
Yeah, Be Easy. Yeah, Be Easy. Yeah.
It was Be Easy live. Yeah, there we go. All right. What did you disagree with that I had on the board?
I disagree with. I want to. What the fuck?
Yeah, sorry, Kay. I have to meet you real quick. Well, go ahead, America first.
No, so I disagree with. I mean, I want to disagree with America was never great, but I just listened to reparation. I don't think it's gonna happen about the reparation, and I don't think like they deserve. I don't think like Black American, especially immigrants, deserve reparation.
Okay.
Well, immigrants will not qualify for
reparations in the first place, right? So America first, like we already explained this, right? Reparations would be, as far as the United States goes, reparations would be specifically for African Americans and the people who descended from the slave, chattel slave trade in America, Jim Crow and Redline, the one that it actually targeted those people. Now, it would be ethnic, and we have multiple names: African American, Black American. Some call it FBA, Sulan, but it all means the same thing. It would go to those whose lineage goes back to the to slavery in the United States, and also and whose families were a part of the foundation of the building of the country. Right. Now, as far as someone like we are talking about. Exactly. Now, as far as someone like hold on, America. As far as someone like myself, who's of Haitian descent, the reparations for myself will come from France, because those are the people who colonized and enslaved my ancestors. And for someone like my wife, hers will come from Jamaica. I mean, not Jamaica. From the UK, because they're the ones who colonized and enslaved people from Jamaica, Bahamas, Nigeria, Kenya, South Africa. The UK has plenty of reparations to give out, as does France, because not only will France
has so much.
Yeah, the UK has so much.
The UK has plenty. The UK really does need to pay for its crimes against all its humanity.
Yeah, the UK and France, because of what it's done to the African continent, especially France, because oh my God.
Okay, can I talk or?
Yeah, you can.
America, because we're explaining something. Now, me, KK. I am Black American / African American, right? Whatever term we're using, I don't really care. Some people have a thing about that. Me, I would receive reparations from the United States government because my family went through slavery in the United States. My roots go back to Tennessee, specifically Memphis.
Right.
What about Africa, bro? Africa.
So America. Already, hold on. All right,
only people who are getting reparations in the United States are those whose families and lineage goes back to the transatlantic slave trade in the United States.
So
no one else qualifies.
Right. So America first. I'm not sure if you heard me, but I've already said this. When it comes to other cultures, we should get the other reparations from those who enslaved and colonized us. Typically, the UK, France, Portugal, and Spain. Hold on, America first. Listen to what I'm saying, okay? I said the UK, France, America, and Spain. The UK and France were the most egregious, especially for Africa, right? Because we have the Congo, we have Burkina Faso, we have Nigeria, we even have Algeria. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, France should pay reparations for those. And then for when it comes to the UK, yeah, we have Sierra Leone, we have not Botswana, but South Africa, even Germany owes in Africa, Jamaica, Bahamas, even Germany owes because of Namibia, Mozambique, places like that, right? So when we talk about
the UK, they basically owe it for almost the entire.
How many people are going to talk?
Exactly. So America, I got you, but I want you to understand exactly what we're saying. Okay, so you understand all that, right?
Yes. Okay, so you say everybody was in. So you say everybody was involved in like slavery have to pay reparations. That's what you're trying to say?
Yeah, those who were involved in slavery and colonization should be paying reparations because over on the continent, slavery happened there too. Let's not get it twisted because
so what about Africa? That's what I'm saying.
Right. When you keep saying what about Africa? Yeah, the UK enslaved people in Africa as well on the continent itself.
I'm talking about the people.
I want to bring this up. Why do people always bring up Africa and the Caribbean when we're talking about reparations for Black Americans.
He's asking
for the people that
I'm talking about the selling. He's talking
about the selling. Yeah, the African countries who sell it. Yeah, I get that. The issue with that, America First, is that a lot of those
They don't
nations
exist anymore.
don't
number
exist
one.
anymore. Yeah, exactly. So there's no way to get the reparations from. They don't exist anymore. Like, for example, the Dutch East India Company, right? They were involved in the slave trade, but we can't get any money back from the Dutch East India country and in East India Company because the Dutch East India Company doesn't exist anymore. You see what I'm saying? So we will have to go through towards the people who actually who actually were advantage of it and still have the wealth that was built from it, which is, you know, people like the UK, people like the Dutch or the Netherlands, I would say. That's who it would come from, because they're the ones who still exist and they're the ones whose wealth was built from it, right? When it comes to on the continent, if there are still tribes there that still have wealth from the slave trade, yeah, there's a conversation to be had there. And from what I know, when I spoke to a few Nigerians, there are some people, like some tribal kings that do exist in Africa that descended from slave traders, and they still have some of that wealth. That's a conversation to have. We're not saying that's not a conversation to have.
That's the conversation I want to
I'm Nigerian. I was raised Christian. What are we saying about Nigerians? What are they trying to fake? Pretend like they care about Nigerian Christians or something?
Keep up with me?
No, hold on. Give me a second. Give me a second. All right.
Okay.
Is that your name? Nah.
It's Nana. Yeah, that's my name.
Nana. Okay. Give me a few minutes, Nana. We're talking to America First. So yeah. So America First. You said that. Nana, I got to put you on mute real quick because I got an echo. Sorry about that. All right. So America First. You're saying that we need to have the conversation on the people in Africa. Those tribal descendants who still have the wealth from the slave trade. Yeah, we can talk about that, right? But the reason why we talk about the Europeans more, the colonization that happened more, is not only was theirs like completely worse or and ruined the continent, but they still have wealth from that time, and they're still colonizing the continent from that time. But yeah, we can talk about the tribal kings that still have the money.
Privileges. They still, and they also have
what about
privilege that comes from them.
And also, only not to what you're saying is right in the sense that
just keep up with me. Right?
Yeah, because I have a direct family member who was involved in this trade. Blasphemous, shameful. He should be ashamed of himself. But the transatlantic slave trade from the African standpoint was a arms race. If you did not agree to sell your own people in, they would just go to the next village and tell them to do it. Whoever did it first would get arms. And because the proliferation of gunpowder, which is like at that time, imagine you never had access to this type of weaponry. It's either like, it's called divide and conquer for a reason, either unalive or be unalive. Either you take it, because they literally told them that we know how these conversations went because of what, at least in Nigeria, or what is now considered modern day Nigeria, because of what the British themselves said. They literally said, you know, we like you guys more because this group was willing to convert to Christianity. Great. This other group wasn't. We're going to offer you these arms if you help us in the slave trade. If you don't, we're just going to go to this other group and they're going to do it. And then your people will be enslaved. That's how they did it. It was kind of like a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. And that's not to justify like the decisions that were made. Because at the end of the day, if you ask some of these, obviously all of these men are no longer alive, but if you ask a lot of these men who engaged in the transatlantic slave trade, they will literally said, I was doing this to protect my own people since the quote white man brought gunpowder. Mm-hmm. Without
that's inexcusable.
It's not excusable. What are you talking about? At the time that before the way warfare was fought, the proliferation of gunpowder changed the entire planet. Religions ended because of the proliferation of gunpowder. I don't think you guys understand. How is it an excuse not to want to be G-sided with gunpowder? Like people, right. They were fighting with what? Furthermore, Africa is the only continent, the only partnership. There are different countries in Africa right now, in West Africa specifically, that actually offer in minuscule ways, I'm not saying it's perfect, reparations. Black Americans right now can go to Ghana and own land that the locals are not allowed to own. It's literally left. They said if any Black American, as a form of reparations, wants to come here, they are allowed to come here and cultivate the land. It's like a reparations. Furthermore, I noticed how you didn't mention Liberia, which is when Black Americans went from the United States back to Africa, pillaged, completely committed mass atrocities against or people who at that time would be considered indigenous. Not saying that Black people aren't indigenous. I'm just saying. So it's not just they sold their own people and they're the horrible boogeyman in the world. No, they sold other people's people, because again, race as a social construct. Race as a social construct didn't exist back then. Furthermore, all these states that people say Nigerians sold other Nigerians. There are over 400 different ethnic groups in Nigeria. To be fair, there's 4 that are the majority. But like
the tribe.
I'm sorry.
Right, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Can we just pause real quick, because I do like all the information on that. I do appreciate that. Thank you so much. But like America First, I really want to get to the point of what you're trying to say here. Because the first thing, wait, hold on, America First, hold on, bro. You're so excitable. The first thing, because we understand who's going to get it, but you also said something else. You don't think that African Americans deserve it, and I want to get to that conversation, because why would you think that the people?
I definitely want to get to that.
Exactly. So why would you think that the people who suffered so much in this country?
The first thing.
So America First. What I need you to do for me is that let me finish asking the question first, okay? All right, give me that second. All right, so when you said they don't deserve it, I want to know exactly what you mean by that, because these people suffered in the society and were depressed or oppressed economically, socially, and politically. If the government was involved in doing that, why shouldn't the government fix it?
Also, the government also promised Black Americans after
during Reconstruction, exactly. Mm-hmm. Mind you, every other group in America has received a form of reparations that has been slighted. Native Americans, even if you don't think it's enough, because I don't, outside of reservations, which is not, in my opinion, good enough, but outside of a taxless reservations, they have huge claims in casinos, and they're able to go to any overwhelmingly majority of public universities for free. The people who were interned, Japanese Americans who were in America 50 to 70 years before World War II, their descendants were given reparations in 1993 to the tune of 4.8, or I think in modern times it'd be over $12 billion to the descendants of the internment camps that they had in the United States. Jewish Americans who weren't even American at the time, who were turned away, the descendants of those who were turned away, if they could prove that if they had the information saying they turned us away and then they were forced to go back to Germany or Eastern Europe during World War II, they were given reparations. The American government at the time paid federal tax dollars to those people, right? The only group of people who have been slighted in the United States that have never received. People are like, well, at this point, it'd be too many people. Well, if they would have given it to them after World War II,
you shouldn't have brought us over fucking here.
Hello,
yeah, exactly.
If they would have given it to them after Reconstruction, during Reconstruction, then we wouldn't be
in this situation right now.
I'm like, but you know what they did during Reconstruction to my ethnic group, though?
Yeah,
what they did was
lynch people, strange fruited them.
Strange fruited, huh?
Strange fruited. They strange fruited.
So everybody, everybody pause real quick.
They completely destroyed my community, and now you don't think you don't have to pay? No, absolutely not.
Right, exactly.
The United States government promised reparations in the form of 30 acres and a mule after emancipation, and the only people that got anything were the actual slaves, the actual enslavers.
Were the literal slave owners.
Guys, pause real quick, because I do love. Pause real quick. I do love the conversation. I do all the information, but we have to let America First respond. So America First, because of all this, because of everything that we talked about. How could you say that they don't deserve it? What's going on? Why would you say they don't deserve it?
Because first and foremost, Africa was sold by their own. You cannot. She can give like 30 excuses, but
it's irrelevant.
Let me finish. I'm sorry. Let me finish. I really want to hear all this bullshit. Go ahead. Let's go with the first bullshit. Africans who are Africans. Go ahead. Go. What's the next bullshit?
Oh my God! Let me just have two arguments.
Gotcha. Go ahead.
Can I have two arguments?
Go ahead.
Okay. And the second argument is I don't think I don't think the sin of the parent had to go to the son. Like, you know what I mean? I don't think a generational sin. I don't think it's actually worth it to actually like punish the people right now, bro.
Okay,
That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, no, it doesn't
It's
make sense
not
at
the
all.
people, it's the federal government. We have
yeah.
monies to build ET bombers. The Pentagon has up to $6 trillion that they can't account for, but they can't pay 40 million Black Americans. And quite frankly, you don't sound Black American. You have an accent. Where are you
He's not.
from?
He's not. I know he's not.
And I know he's not a Black American.
Yeah. So why do you think you have a right to tell Black Americans?
I'm the only one up here.
Hold on, everybody pause.
This man sounds Nigerian like me.
Yeah. So hold on,
I'm
America.
the only one up here with Black American lineage. Literally the only person up here with Black American lineage. So.
Right. Exactly. So America first. Two things already. I'm not even sure why your name is America First. You're Nigerian, but two things. America first. Number
Nigerian,
one.
I'm from Somerton. What do you mean? But
You're what?
I'm Somerton. I'm Caribbean.
Okay,
From
so
where?
then you should shut the
but
hell
you're
up.
not American.
All right. So America first. Wait, hold on. Hold on. Everybody pause.
Black
Americans for being here.
Black
Exactly.
Americans, because if it wasn't for the civil
Volcy,
rights
you're
movement that they
Asian.
fought and died for, your ass
about?
would be in Jamaica or wherever the hell you're from.
All right. So
Volcy, you're Asian, bro.
Yeah. Are you Haitian too? America
I'm like,
first.
Volcy's Haitian. I am a Black American.
I'm Nigerian
You know
American.
what? This is.
What's
I'm
this
like,
immigrant, bro? I understand that.
Yeah, and I support
I'm
Black
the
Americans.
only one up
I'm not
here,
a
but
clown like
hold
you.
on.
Yeah. We're trying to get off the weeds here. Yeah.
And this be my thing with and this is why Black Americans have have problems sometimes with certain people who come from immigrant backgrounds, because like what America First is doing, literally trying to undermine Black Americans' claim to have things righted that have historically and are currently still happening to us. I'm like, that is literally. I'm like, we literally have. I'm like people who are first gens and second gens in the Congress right now. I think, for example, Ryan Donald, who is a Jamaican and Panamanian man, who literally said that he is against reparations because he, as a Black immigrant, would
ma'am,
literally
I just
not
want you to
benefit from
know
it.
that so many of us, that's what really bothers us, because it's contributing to the hatred and the animosity and the xenophobia, whether justified or not, that people experience. I don't surround myself with Black immigrants who view Black Americans in this disgusting light. To say I don't believe that I deserve reparations. If I were getting reparations, it'd be from England. I believe the only people who deserve reparations in the context of which we're talking about is obviously Black Americans. I want you to know that so many of us descendants of immigrants do not feel the way that stupid individual, I want to call him a raccoon, feels. He does not represent my values. I think he's disgusting. Outside of him being so ignorant to assume that because he can't get reparations, no one can. Again, 40 million of the 44 million Black people in this country are Black Americans. He also he was supposed to go to prison for a MJ charge, and because of liberal policies, he was given a second chance. And he's one of the staunchest hardcore anti-drug advocates in the country. So please just know that he does not represent my values. I think he's a disgusting, vile person.
You're not going to get them Jordans. Oh yeah, you're blocked. You got me fucked up. No.
Oh yeah. So he's gone. All right. Yeah, he's gone. All right. Yeah, I really wanted to actually have a. Yeah, I actually want to have a conversation with him, but it seems that that's not what he wanted to do. All right,
he can go back to Jamaica or wherever he's from and stay there. Make Jamaica great again.
I love how he wanted to talk about the first one, but we ended up talking about the reparations instead. He wanted to talk about America was never great.
Oh yeah, I'm like, but here is the thing though. It's so interesting to me. By the way, I just want to say, I'm sorry, I cannot pronounce your name, sis. Is it Kana? I'm sorry, I'm really bad with
Nana.
Oh no, it's okay. It's Nana.
Nana. Okay. Because girl, I'm really bad with pronouncing.
It's okay. It's my nickname.
K is silent.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I never. It's very interesting how African languages work.
It's a play on words on my real name. It's you know how you spell to tie a knot, KNOT. It's like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no problem.
I definitely want to thank you because, like, that is literally what I come across. Like,
oh, I know they're everywhere, and they're speaking for all of us, and it's making like they do not speak for me. I think it's disgusting, especially because what makes it even more of a stab in the back. If it wasn't for the civil rights movement, my parents never would have come here. My mom was born.
They wouldn't have been able.
My mom would literally
so
not be here. I would be born
for
exactly, and so I totally understand. I mean, I don't like when I don't think,
and that's what we get frustrated because 100%. It's not even just. And because it's not even just Black, I mean, it's also like non-immigrant. It's immigrants
Latinos
who are not Black
Asian,
as well, like Asians.
Everybody wants to be
everyone shits on us, and yet we're just supposed to take the hits and not say anything about it, or we are these big xenophobic bullies, and that is not fair.
I know, and that's why I.
Hey guys, just a second, guys, because I do want to go ahead and get to the next conversation. Next person, Float Freely. How's it going on Float Freely? Are you at least 18? And did you disagree with something I had on the board?
I'm actually going to drop. Host, thank you for having me on. I'll come back later. I have to run an errand. Thank you, guys.
No problem. No, thank you so much.
Great conversation.
Oh, yeah, thank you for coming, sis.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, so Float Freely, did you have something you disagree with on the board, and are you over 18?
I don't disagree with a gosh darn thing. I'm 36. I came up actually when you and KK were mentioning something about how Haitian Americans wouldn't be involved for reparations, right? And so
they wouldn't qualify.
Right.
Wouldn't.
Right.
Not for the ones that America would pay, right? Haitians would go. What was it?
From France. Like I'm all for Caribbeans getting their reparations from whoever colonized them. So for Jamaica, it would be England, et cetera, et cetera. I have no problem with that. Yeah. But for I'm like, I think they actually have a reparations claim and Volcy, you could correct me don't Caribbeans have a reparations called CARICOM?
CARICOM is
Caribbean.
Yeah, CARICOM is a governmental body. Basically, CARICOM is trying to be like the EU. You know what I'm saying? But like they also do have a reparations claim. They're actually asking for it from the United States as well. Now, I believe it should come after African Americans get theirs. But especially for Haiti,
I'm
when they
with it. I'm like because America did have some things to do with the stabling so Caribbean. So I have no problem with that as long as it comes after we get ours.
Right,
That's the thing. Like, because that's the everyone has superseded and gotten prioritized above Black Americans. No, this time I want us to be prioritized.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So all right. I don't disagree with any of this. I'm Black American too, bro. So I was just saying, like, we could walk and chew gum at the same time. If they can send XYZ billion to Zionists, whatever, for the past 2 years, 3 years, look, they can manage to get multiple things done at once. So I think
we should be prioritizing our claim first. We cannot be because that's the thing. Like, I'm not going to agree that anyone else in this claim should be superseded above Black Americans. I'm never going to agree to that. I'm going to prioritize my ethnic group and our historical struggles and in the issues that our lineage specifically has faced and our own reparations claim. Now, I'm not against, like I said, I'm not against people getting what is rightfully due to them, because that is exactly what I am asking for, but I'm going to prioritize my ethnic group.
Right. So maybe I'm seeing it from a different angle because I already did the whole birthright trip back to Ghana, right? I already went to the motherland. All right, it's demystified for me. We're all the same niggas. Negroes.
We don't all have the same ethnicities though. And
no, we don't. But
I'm like, we may share all the same race, but there are differences, and I have an issue with those differences in those historical contexts. Because if there were not differences, then for example, what happened just a few months ago with South Africa and Black Americans would not happen regarding the Tyler situation. There are differences in historical context that need to be considered.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys. I do want to get to Ethos because Ethos has been crashing out for a little bit. All right, so Ethos
also decided to come on mute just to do that passive aggressive side.
So Ethos. Are you at least 18? And what did you disagree with what I had on the board?
Oh, hey, what's up? I disagree with everything on the.
All right, great. So let's go ahead and start with whatever one you want to start with. You want to start with number 1? America was never great.
You know, in all honesty, if I could just jump into the only one that matters is there's no good evidence for God.
I mean, I think they all matter, but sure, you can find we can go. There's no good evidence for God.
Well, that's the one I would start with because that's like the basis of All
right, great. So yeah, there's no good evidence for a God, and the only thing that people ever come up with was just cute little arguments. But like arguments don't really prove that a God exists, right? Because I can make an argument for Olodumare. I'm pretty sure you won't believe that.
What's that? I don't know that term.
Olodumare is the god of West African Yoruba religion. If I made an argument for that, you still wouldn't believe it. So it's like arguments don't really show anything.
If I made an argument for the Norse god Tyr, would you be convinced that Tyr exists now?
No, I'm not talking about making an argument for a god, like for a culture. I'm talking about for a creator. Like there has to be some kind of creator.
What we're getting at here, though, is that argumentation. It can get you to the possibility, but not the plausibility, right?
That's the opposite. No. Okay, well, let me explain my point, and then you may or may not disagree. And I think if we get to a baseline on this, we may be able to talk about other stuff. So God is a concept, right? Follow me here. God is a concept because nothing is by accident. If you have a system like for biology or the planets and atoms, and you look at the way it's structured, the chances for you to be here holding an iPhone are really minuscule. I'm talking like 1 in a trillion, 1 in a trillion trillion.
No, it's one.
No, the chances are one because it happened.
That's not how it works.
So yes,
we have to go back to school.
Yeah, no. This is coming from actual professors. Whenever it comes to the whole entire thing is the 1-to-1 ratio thing. And it's basically
hold on, Hammy, can you give me a second? Hammy, I'm sorry. Can you give me a second? Okay, Ethos, this is what we're gonna do. All right, I'm gonna try to not just interrupt you and not gonna try to interrupt me. But what we're not gonna do is be condescending. All right, you're saying that I need to go back to school, but you don't even know what the 1-to-1 ratio is. So don't be condescending to I need to go back to school, and you don't even know what these concepts are. All right, so let's go ahead and try to have a respectful conversation. I'll try to respect you. The chances of me being here holding an iPhone are 1 because it happened. So when you say there has to be something or a reason for the existence, yes, true. There do needs to be a reason for why we exist, right? Whatever that reason is, that doesn't make the reason a supernatural entity that exists outside of space and time. It doesn't make it that. You actually have to show that that's actually the most likely case through some amount of evidence. And what we're asking is, what is that evidence that you have? What we're asking is, what is the evidence that you had that there's some sort of being, creative being that exists outside of space and time that made the universe? What is that evidence?
I wouldn't even argue that you have to believe it's a being, a guy in the sky. Okay, I would argue you have to believe it's a force. You have to believe that something enacted a system, and the evidence is the system itself. So when you go outside and you look at how nature works and you understand how improbable it is that we have a little blue gem floating in the universe, you start to wake up a little bit.
Hey, Ethos, you're running into a problem.
That's the start.
Right, Ethos, you're running into a problem.
Does not prove creator.
Right, so this is what I'm going to say, Ethos. Hold on, Ethos, stop. Ethos, listen.
I'm having a conversation.
I got you, but listen to what I'm saying. You're running into a problem, right? Because I said a god. That's what I said. When you say a force, what the hell does that mean? Because me moving my hand like this is a force.
Yeah, it didn't get there by accident.
So when I know it didn't get there by accident. No one is saying it did. So what are you arguing?
Well, the causation of the universe is not just a system that just logically happens step by step by step by step. That's
what are you talking about? No one said that it did. No, that's not my opinion. That's not my premise.
Well, what's your premise?
My premise is that there is no good evidence for a god. That is my premise. And when we talk about the creation or the creation of the universe, so-called creation, or how existence is the way that it is, or what started the Big Bang, et cetera, these are things that I would straight up tell you. I don't know what started the Big Bang, but you're saying that it had to be this. When you say a force, when I ask you what do you mean by force, are you talking about like some creative being, or a natural process that we don't understand, or any amount of things that we don't know the answer to yet?
Yes, all of the things that we would never understand culminate into some concept that could be God. Okay, and that doesn't make any type of sense, bro. Thought. Well, hold on. The thought I have in my mind is a logical set of steps that I've put together in my mind, right? The existence of a God in my mind is my own logical premise, right? I don't get the chance to meet God. I don't get a chance to shake his hand, her hand, whatever you want to think. I don't have that capability. I'm thinking in my mind that you have to have that. You would have to shake God's hand for him to believe in him.
I have no idea what any of that means, bro. When you talk about a force, what the hell do you mean? Do you mean you should keep saying a concept that comes up to what does that mean? What do you mean by force? Because I think that most likely, what I think is likely is that the start of the universe, or whatever started the Big Bang, is some sort of natural process that we don't understand yet. Because our human ancestors didn't understand what lightning was, right? That doesn't make Zeus real. It was just a process that we didn't understand. So I think it's likely that what caused the Big Bang is a natural process that we don't understand, and we may never understand. We don't know, right? But when you say creation, or it's like, but when you say creation or force, you're literally attributing it to some sort of deliberate action of some creature. And what I'm saying is that we don't have the evidence for that, unless you're saying that it's not some deliberate action of some creature. At that point, what are you saying? You there, Ethos?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So are you saying that is a deliberate action of some creature or not?
It's something outside the system. We have a system set up here, and I think we could all observe it and understand that it's not probable that we exist. Okay.
What I'm asking is it deliberate?
Oh, absolutely. It would have to be a deliberate change into the system.
All right. Hold on. Are you saying that the deliberacy?
I haven't had a chance to explain.
Right. You said this is deliberate. I just need more clarification. The deliberate force, it has its own will. Basically, it has
absolutely.
It has its own will. Okay, so you're saying that it's a God.
Yes. What I believe in, the deliberate force onto our universe that created us and the universe, was God. Okay. Now let me explain the two points here. The creation of us seems to be deliberate. We have DNA that doesn't match into this model of evolution. Secondly, the creation of the universe is pretty complex.
Wait,
it doesn't just
wait, can we
happen.
start? Can you expand upon this whole entire
If you
DNA?
don't, yeah. If you give me a half second here.
Well, I don't want you to go like 500 steps in, and I'm still trying to figure out
what you mean exactly. So you said that we have DNA that doesn't fit into evolution. What do you mean by that? Yes, we do.
Yeah, there's DNA that seems to be spliced in. I don't know if you guys know this, but when scientists look at our DNA, they have some issues with the model of evolution matching where we ended up.
I've never heard any.
I've never heard of that. What part of ethos? Stop. Which section of our DNA seems spliced in that doesn't fit? Which section?
I couldn't tell you. I'm not a scientist, but I have researched that what they understand about the human genome is that it doesn't just align up to us emerging on its own.
Of course, it didn't emerge on its own. What do you mean?
It does, no, the Australopithecus, the human beings that existed, rapidly turned into humans. Rapidly, they don't have the means.
What do
you mean by rapidly?
It wasn't rapidly.
It wasn't rapidly. It took like 300, 400,000 years. It's not rapid.
Okay, again, the modern human beings that emerged, they don't know how that happened so quickly.
Yeah, we do.
Evolution.
When you say they don't know how it happened so quickly. Modern anatomical humans popped up in Africa probably about 200,000 years ago, right? But for 500,000 years before that, they were all the other hominids that you're talking about, right? So this is not something that happened rapidly. Like 500,000 years is not a rapid time.
You're wrong.
As a matter of fact,
it's just simple. You're wrong.
No, he's actually correct here, because the thing is, like, when we see like Australopithecus afarensis and going into Africanus, going from the Australopithecus up into the Homo section of our lineage, we see the changes. Yeah. Well, there's Homo before Homo sapiens. There's Homo erectus. Yeah. Then there was Homo habilis. There's all these other, but Homo was the genus of that we're in, right? So
what I read
was
that Homo sapiens is separate, and the cranium and the size of our brains, and the fact that we're talking and having conscious conversation.
Yeah, because our very first, our closest between Australopithecus and us. The very next one would be Homo erectus. Homo erectus is our closest ancestors between them.
Yeah.
And before that, there's that. Yeah. And the thing is like, we have all these different things, and we see this in the fossil record. We see this in our genes and things like that. As a matter of fact, there's a cave where there's the Denisovans that some people actually have lineage with those. And so we see this, and we see that some people still also have like Neanderthal DNA.
Yeah. But could I give you a study that shows that our genome seems to be spliced, or at least something was added that doesn't match what was currently here? Would you at least accept that?
Is it a study, or is it pop science article?
No, it'd be a study.
All right. From where? Where was it printed again?
I'll find it for you, and then if it exists, will it help you like change your opinion about at least having some other thing affecting human genealogy? Like people believe in aliens. Like, would you believe in aliens if they came down and met you?
And if they came down and met me, that's empirical, right?
Yes. So what you're saying is there's no empirical evidence for God. I think that would be a better statement to say, right?
Right. That's evidence is literally empirical.
No, when we catch a murderer, we may not have empirical evidence. I don't know if you know this.
We don't go off hearsay when we catch them, right? We have actual evidence. We have either the weapon that they used to do it, the DNA on the scene.
But if they're wearing a mask, we have to use other forms of evidence.
But right. So if we find a mask, we'll find DNA on his mask, right?
What if we don't? There's been
right there are so you need something empirical. You don't just go to jail. Well, at least that's not how it's supposed to be. You don't just go to jail because we don't just go. Yeah, I know it happens. That's not how it's supposed to be, right?
You don't just. What I'm saying is, they get the right guy, but the way they got them, they had to use other factors.
Right, they have to use other factors, but they have to use other factors, but it has to be empirical. They don't say, "Oh, this guy did it because I said so."
As a matter of fact, that whole entire idea here is that like in trials like that, like if you have all this other facts of like, oh, well, this person has motive, he has opportunity, he has all this. There's a lot of the times like whenever you can't tie him to the scene at that exact time and all these other different aspects that will let man possibly could have been the murderer, but that doesn't mean that that doesn't mean that like he can walk free still, because of the fact that you don't have the actual hard evidence that ties him to the murder.
Right, exactly.
I enjoy the conversation, but my premises come from those thoughts. The premise of an existing God it doesn't just come from that, but in the let's say non-religious world, what I understand about God is that he made us unique, and there's proof for it, and he made the universe, which is impossible to understand and impossible to make a perfect theory.
All right. So what evidence do we have?
I'm still talking.
I know you are, but I can interrupt because it's my life. What evidence do we have? What evidence do we have? What evidence do we have that God made us perfect? What evidence do we have that God made us perfect? What evidence do we have of that?
Did I say perfect?
All right. What evidence do we have? I'm sorry. What evidence do we have that God made us? What evidence do we have of that?
Or you are separate and uniquely different than all other beings on this earth.
We're not.
Right?
How so?
We're not.
We have so much capabilities of creation. We could create the phone you're talking on. We could create systems, and we could have a higher level of consciousness than all other beings in this planet.
Know that primates are currently in their Stone Age right now? Did you know that, Ethos?
I've seen them use tools. I've seen them.
Yeah, they're in their stone age.
They're using tools and creating tools. It's not just using tools; they're creating them. They're taking rocks and creating them.
Yeah,
we're different.
They're creating. Hold on.
Currently,
hold on. So Ethos, we all know that as human beings, we took over this planet. We have higher levels of thinking and abstract thought, et cetera, et cetera. We all know that, right? But when you say that we're different because of that reason, that shows that we're different from other animals in that aspect. But we're still but there's still animals that are creative, that are empathetic, that have the same type of funeral rites that we do. You know, elephants have funerals, right?
Yeah,
so like the only difference between really us and elephants is that we developed these and they didn't. If they were able to stand up, right and develop these, they probably would have took over the world before us. You see what I'm saying?
And,
so
and my
it's
thought process is, I don't think so. I think it's.
I know you don't think so, but it's a matter of fact that elephants do have self-awareness, they do have empathy, and they do have complex structures in societies.
We believe that one of the reasons why our brains became more expanded is because we went from eating raw meat into cooking the meat.
Yeah.
We found out that if we put the meat over fire, it tastes better. It keeps us alive, and it helped actually expand our brains, right? So, like,
I could get that.
Primates, for instance,
but I would say those are
cooking their
tertiary
meat,
factors.
They might do the same.
Yeah, I would agree with you, but I would say those are tertiary factors. Those are minuscule things. And what's missing is, in the theory of evolution, a rapidly increasing exponential. People have theorized as mushrooms, magic mushrooms, or some kind of other kind of.
Keep saying rapid, but none of this was ever rapid.
I'm going to find you the study. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Go find us the study, because I'd never heard of any scientist saying, "Oh, humans developed rapidly." Like, no.
Well, the thing with intelligence is it's a survival trait, and just like cheetahs are the fastest running land animals, some species has to be the most intelligent, which is its own category of a survival trait. And we just happen to be it. We're like the cheetahs of thinking.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, I'm about to be almost done because me and wifey is going out tonight, and I've been on for a few hours.
Where are you and the wifey going?
We've been trying to eat healthier. You know what I mean? I was thinking about going to a Brazilian steakhouse because those are amazing. Like they just keep bringing you meat and stuff like that. But we, but we don't want our blood pressure to go up and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Because I do have a family history of hypertension, so we're trying to be careful. You know what I mean? So we may go out to maybe a veggie spot tonight. Probably do some vegetarian,
like a salad or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Something like that. We'll see.
Where are you located, man?
I'm in Florida.
Florida, okay.
Exactly. So
I've been to Florida an entire of one time.
An entire what?
I've only been to Florida one time.
Oh, yeah. I've been there a couple times, yeah. But great place to visit, but I would not live there with the current climate.
Oh, man, yeah.
In general, do you bring up ops or?
Usually I like to just bring up ops. I like to be, one-on-one most times, but folks usually aren't patient. I'm trying to control that a little bit more so we can have more one-on-one type of things. But yeah, it's usually ops I bring up, but it's fine if you're friendly. You could come on up.
I'm so sorry. This was fun though. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, not a problem. I appreciate it. We're just gonna wait till Ethos comes back in a few moments, and then I'll probably end out the live. But yeah, Florida is great to visit. But me and wife have been thinking about maybe we should get out of here. Like Texas or Houston was gonna be was on the list, but what happened was going on with the Supreme Court. You know what I mean? Now we're like maybe Texas is not the move. Maybe North Carolina is the move.
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm in North Carolina, man.
If you do end up going to Houston, I live close by Houston. I live over by Galveston.
I think you would like Raleigh or Charlotte.
Yeah. We're talking about that too. Raleigh or Charlotte, maybe Virginia. DC area.
Yeah. What's that other guy, Ethos? What's he looking up?
He's looking up the claim that human genome is spliced in a special way that doesn't align with evolution. Because if that was the case, that would have been everywhere.
No. Like if that were the case, you wouldn't have like over 99% of biologists accepting evolution. Like the consensus is overwhelming.
Right, exactly.
I have a feeling it's going to be in something like your
Evolution is not
stupid creation.
99% accepted. Who said that?
Oh,
It is 99%
do
expected. It's definitely
do you want me to pull
Evolution
up
is
the
not-
citation?
Evolution
Yeah.
is not 99% accepted.
No, I'm saying by PhD biologists.
No.
Okay. All right. Hang on.
Yeah, it is by biologists who are current in the field. It is accepted.
Evolution is a hoax.
Oh.
Without religion, it's just a theory.
Oh,
So, Ethos, are you trolling me right now?
No, absolutely not. You're trolling me.
No, you're the one trolling because it's literally accepted by the entire field of biology.
No, it's not. It has so many flaws.
It is. I was about
Okay.
to-
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. What's the flaws? What's the flaws?
Thousands of flaws.
Okay,
if,
name
if
one.
there's missing links, if you can show me, I would love to see this. I would like to see a fish in between stages turning into a land animal. It's not existent. In the fossil records, there's no existence of a fish turning into a different portion of the.
Yes, we do. It's called tectonic. As a matter of fact, this is exactly what happened. Was Darwin?
Tectonic. Show me the name of that.
Whenever he decided,
Yeah, it's called Tiktaalik. I just looked it up right now. Fish into land animal fossil. Tiktaalik rosé. Like you could literally Google
so
this, bro.
basically, as a matter of fact, what happened was when Darwin was had the idea of evolution, and he was discussing this. He actually said that in order to prove this true, he's like, we would need to find a fossil we need to find an animal that's between fish and between land animal. And it would only be in this specific layer of rock if that were the case. And then after his death, like by 10 years after his death, we dug into that rock layer that he had said that we would be able to find it. And we found Tiktaalik, which was in fact an in between fish and land animal. And we named it Tiktaalik.
Yeah, exactly. So Ethos, did you go Google that right now? Because we actually do have the fossil for the fish to land animal. We have that. So when you say that we don't have it, you lied. So no problem, Sean. So Ethos, when you said that we don't have the fossil, were you wrong or were you lying?
I want to know what Tiktaalik is spelled before I can Google it.
It's just type into Google fish into land animal fossil and it will come up.
Yeah, and one of the funniest things about Tiktaalik is the fact that when you look at its fins, you see that they're harder. They're not 100% hard like legs, but they are harder than the rest of the fossils of like aquatic fish from that time, from before in that time frame. They're a bit harder for him to be able to get up on land for short periods of time, and he had to go back into the water for a little bit. Mm-hmm. And so, it's fascinating. It's one of the ones that it was just amazing to find it.
Yeah, so Ethos, hurry up and find that because I'm trying to get off in like 5 minutes. Before I do that, shout out to everybody on Deconstruction Junction who's commenting and kept us in the algorithm. You can go ahead and follow me on TikTok. Remember to subscribe to me on YouTube. It is pinned to the top. My YouTube is Volcy Thoughts. I appreciate y'all all y'all being here for us to have this conversation. Y'all are wonderful. Subscribe to Black Atheist Coalition as well. I'll be on tomorrow as well with Black Atheist rants for Black people should not be Christian, Muslim, or Black Hebrew Israelite. So shout out to everybody in Deconstruction Junction. Shout out to everybody over on the Black Atheist Coalition. And shout out to everyone who's watching me on Volcy Thoughts. We will I do this every Thursday through Sunday. And y'all are great. So user, I don't know how to say your name, but I don't know what you think diversity is, but yeah, the Allies in World War II were a diverse coalition of people. Like you saying that they didn't win being diverse is kind of crazy. Because none of these people spoke the same language, had the same mindset, none of that. That's insane. But go ahead, Hammy. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, just as a helpful promotion for what you're gonna do with Black Atheist Rants, I've tuned in to the whole entire Black people should not be Christian, Muslim, or and all that, and it is amazing listening to some of the most educated people who are talking on this, and it's very entertaining to have people come up there to be like, no, they should be. I've wanted to get in on that, but I'm like, I'm so white I make mayonnaise look spicy. So it's like it'd be a little weird. Yes, let me, the white boy, tell you why you should not be like no.
Yeah, I got you. No, of course. Yeah, that's why we're a little careful with that. You know what I mean? So I do feel you. But yeah, ethos. I'm sorry. Go ahead,
I'm trying to paste the link in the room, and it says it's too long because I'm using my phone app, and I think it does something weird with the address. Mm-hmm. But Google Pew, P-E-W, AAAS, Scientists Survey Evolution, and I can't read it verbatim because I have to minimize my phone, or I could do it on my laptop. But basically, it said virtually all, and it said 99% of PhD scientists surveyed accept evolution.
Yeah, exactly. So ethos. So that makes two things. Where you first said that most of biologists don't accept evolution, and that was wrong. And then you said that we don't have the fossil of a land.
No, it was unproven. We never proved that was wrong.
You don't have. Yeah, we did prove it wrong. He just read off the Pew. He just read off the survey.
No, I haven't read the research. I have no idea what he's talking about.
Okay. Do you have Google?
Oh, hold on.
We only have about 2 minutes left.
I think I know exactly where Ethos is getting this from. Ethos, are you getting it from that one survey that went out that like AIG and Creation Institute had put forth saying that scientists don't agree on evolution?
There's a lot of points they don't agree on. Here's another concept.
But is that
the person who invented evolution was Christian?
Hey, ethos.
Irrelevant.
Yeah,
it's irrelevant. Okay,
it is irrelevant. Yeah, it's completely irrelevant.
Well, a lot of the points you make are irrelevant.
No, they're not. They're not. Ethos. So ethos. Hold on. Everybody pause. So ethos. Number one, you claim that not all biologists agreed, and then number two, you claim that we don't have, which is not true. He already read the survey. Mm-hmm. And number two, you also claim that we don't have the fish into land animal fossil. So on both those points, were you lying or were you wrong?
The Tiktaalik I had not heard about. But I am correct that there's no way that every single biologist agrees in evolution. It's not
99% do.
Go to the survey and look at it.
A survey doesn't mean anything.
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does.
I'll introduce you to a biologist that doesn't believe in evolution.
Irrelevant. I'm sorry. It's a waste of time. I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah, I got you.
Besides, I have to get ready to go out anyway. But I do appreciate y'all. Right. So join in tomorrow for Black Atheist Rants and I for the Thoughts and Rant show. Y'all wonderful. Y'all remember to follow Sean, follow Hammy. Those guys do great content as well. Shout out to everybody who's watching me on my YouTube channel, Volcy Thoughts. Y'all go ahead and subscribe there. Shout out to everyone who's watching me on Black Atheist Coalition. You guys subscribe there. And shout out to the Deconstruction Junction. You guys.
If you have the enough budget, Forescoop is definitely a go-to. And right now, let our marketing show you guys how to place an order for the Mama Scoop.
Mama Scoop, yes, guys. If you want to join our upgraded promotion, go to our pinned link on the yellow shopping bag in the left-hand corner. Remember to claim the coupon before you purchase. Okay, tap on the 5